So yeah, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever is currently a match not made in heaven. Um, it was doing okay for a while. It really was. It really was doing well for a while. And look, all the Indiana Fever had to do, all the Indiana Fever had to do was get a little bit more structure. A little bit more structure from 2024. They had a system. They had an offense that was the best offense in the league. You had Caitlin, you had Kelsey, you had Leah all killing it. And Stephanie White came in and said she wanted to restructure everything, including their offense. Basically being like, you know what, your offense is too predictable. And I'm like, look, the offense for most of the best teams is predictable. But you got to be good enough that, you've got to be good enough that even a predictable offense is unstoppable. And I'm sorry, if you can lose games because your offense is predictable, I'm being very serious. And like teams by just knowing the game plan can completely stop you, then your players aren't very good. And that's not the case. And I think we can be very clear. That is not and has not been the case. For this Indiana Fever team. We know that they can be next to unstoppable. They can be close to unstoppable with Caitlin Clark going out there and cooking. That being said, it's clear they're not doing that. And you've now got a lot of people with no skin in the game that are saying, like, look, like, even though I'm going to be real here, it is like Caitlin's not blameless here. I think Stephanie White's more to blame. Why is Stephanie White more to blame than Caitlin Clark? Because Stephanie White chose to come into an organization with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark didn't choose to be drafted by the Fever. So, like, if Caitlin Clark or if Stephanie White is choosing to come with Caitlin Clark, you don't go and 180 your coaching style or 180 the team and decide that, okay, like Caitlin Clark, you're actually a completely different type of player to what you've shown. And for me, the Caitlin Clark trade is likely. Look, I think we're now gone from the stage where there's like all these weird conspiracy. I'm not even say conspiracies where it's like all this weird conversation around it where people are talking about, oh, is Caitlin Clark a cancer and stuff. It's like we all know Caitlin Clark has improved as a player by a lot. Caitlin Clark is not a cancer. As people, Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White don't hate each other. But I'm being real. Caitlin Clark, she's never lost in her life when there's been an expectation to win. In her life. Like, yeah, when there's no real expectation. Like, she then goes, like, she went and overperformed Iowa. She stayed in Iowa. Massively overperformed with that team. Who, again, have won one tournament game without her, or 2 tournament games without her since she's left. And I'm going to be honest. Like, you have got here a player that it's just not working. It's just not working. And it's going to be like, the annoying part is like, it is addition by subtraction with Indiana. If Indiana just get rid of Caitlin Clark and they allow Stephanie White to fully play her puke ball and the Indiana Fever can get back this us against the world attitude that they had last year, but I think it's going to be hard for them to get that attitude because no one's going to hate the Indiana Fever. They're not going to be the most hated team. Like, Angel Reese fans don't hate Chicago. They just laugh at them. Like, you're just going to find the Chicago side hilarious. And there's one very obvious team that the Indiana Fever are going to can trade Caitlin Clark to. It's the Golden State Valkyries. I'm watching them get cooked by the Aces. Get cooked. Juste Chasite is one of the best young players in the world. They just haven't figured out a way of getting anything into her. Like, they haven't figured out a way to get her to play. And this Indiana Fever or this Valkyries team has no offense. Like, they do not play offense. Whatever about their defense, they do not play offense. And not only that, they have a really good defensive coach. You have elite defensive players. And you have the easiest like-for-like switch. You have the easiest salary match that would help the Fever. So, the Golden State Valkyries proposed trade. Give up their 2027 first-round pick, their 2028 first-round pick, and their 2029 first-round pick. They give up the 2028 second-round pick they got in the Flaugier trade, and they give up their third-round pick in 2027. Like, so you get 3 firsts, a second, and you get 3 firsts, a second, and a third. So 5 draft picks, and a player that helps the Indiana Fever immediately in Ceci Zandalasini. Zandalasini is averaging 8.5 points per game, but she's 6'2". She shoots the ball. She's tough. She's versatile. She plays defense. And she is a significantly better starter. As you can see, I'm saying, oh, she's not a power forward. She plays power forward. Like her or Kayla Thornton. The Kayla Thornton player doesn't work out. The salary situation. But you give up Ceci, who's on a really good deal, and you slot in Ceci for Mo Billings if you want shooting, because she's a much better stretch 4 than a Sophie Cunningham or Alexi. Or you start Ceci Zandalasini for Lexi Hall, who's a significant upgrade on Lexi Hall. You start Raven Johnson to 1. So you start Raven. Kelsey Mitchell is your team. Raven's shooting okay. You've got good defenders. You've then suddenly gone from a team where you've got no defenders to a team of good defenders around Kelsey Mitchell. And you've basically turned into 2025 Fever. So this trade basically allows you to turn back into the Fever of last year, which Stephanie White clearly wants Fever to be, and Kelsey Mitchell clearly wants Fever to be. You can turn back into the 2025 Fever and gain 5 draft picks. And the thing with the Valks is the Valks literally gave away Flaugier for nothing. So they don't care about draft picks. They're going to be happy out with some of their players. Or if you want a young asset instead of Ceci, you can find a way to make it work and base a trade around Amie Hare and Jacite. If I'm not mistaken, you would need... I think you could base a trade around them, or you could put in Kyla Charles. You would just have to give the Fever less than you're taking on. But it has to be within like 100k less. I think the Jacite one works as well. I think it works. Jacite and Amie Hare. And then you're probably going to take back a complete garbage contract like a Dantas back in return. Like, this gives the Indiana Fever, or this gives the Golden State Valkyries a lineup of, they go one of 2 ways. You can start Veronica Burton and Caitlin as kind of like combo guards, because Veronica Burton is a pass first point guard. Like, she's a downhill driver. She's not selfish. She doesn't need to get hers. You can start Caitlin Clark, Veronica Burton, Gabby Williams the 3, Kayla Thornton the 4, Kia Stokes the 5. So you've got your interior defender. Off the bench, you have Janelle Salon. You have a backup in Caitlin Chen. You Tip Hayes, you can come in. Kyla Charles can come in. But Amie Hare might be gone. Let's say if Zandalasini's gone, Amie Hare's gone. If you end up trading the two young players, you get rid of, you just put in Caitlin for Ceci and you kind of hope for the best. But the Golden State Valkyries need an offensive engine, because in fairness, like, they shot 5 of 33s today. Like, Janelle Salon and Ceci shoot the most contested threes in the league. You're going to get open threes for Ceci, Janelle. You're going to get open threes for all these players, and they let them fly. And Amie Hare just hit 2 3-pointers? What? But they're going to let them fly. Every single player on this team is going to let them fly. And you're going to create open shot after open shot after open shot with Caitlin Clark. You've got a whole bunch of shooters that teams are scared to help off. And Caitlin Clark's going to be able to get to the basket. You've got a whole bunch of dogs and defenders, which is the type of players Golden State Valkyries are recruiting. You hide all. This team hides all of Caitlin Clark's weaknesses and plays to her strengths. And yeah, there's a little bit of small ball in there. This team doesn't switch. This team is well coached, and this is a team that needs an offensive engine like Caitlin Clark, because defensively they can compete with anybody on any given night. They just can't score. And then the Indiana Fever realistically need to just become the 2025 Fever again, because you can't beat the 2025 Fever with Caitlin Clark. That's what they're trying to do. Chechi's a obvious option, and you imagine being able to just go back to what you were last year, addition by subtraction, because I mean, the short term they're going to be better without Kate. If Caitlin Clark was to get injured for a season again, I can guarantee you they'll go further in the playoffs than with Caitlin and Steph constantly clashing. Like getting Chechi and 5 draft picks is a trade that I think both short term will be happy. So yeah, that's the video. See you guys.